Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Just Two Marks Wrestling Recap Show. I am the Athletic Geek, and I'm joined this week by JC of the Deluxe Asterisk. Go make sure and like his Facebook page at facebook.com/TheDeluxeAsterisk and check out some awesome artwork. So, this week's kind of an interesting week, and by interesting, I mean, what the fuck? First of all, before I forget, we are Just Two Marks. This is the Just Two Marks Wrestling Recap Show. What sets us apart from other shows is we do not use insider terms. We keep things very simple because despite the fact that we're going to analyze and talk about the inner workings of the wrestling business, we are not insiders, therefore we do not use those terms. As in-depth as we talk and as big of fans as we are, at the end of the day, we are Just Two Marks. Now that I got that out of the way, wow, just a week of there's probably more we could talk about, but the things that just kind of stuck out to me, and especially in the Raw review, because there's only one thing that I really feel like talking about on Raw, and I'm probably missing something very, very important. I do. Well, we'll get to that in the Raw segment, but there was two segments where it's just like, what was that? One a little bit more than the other, but just two segments where you're like, what? And yeah, so that'll be discussed. We will be discussing at least one segment on Raw. Unfortunately this week we're a little pressed for time, so we don't get to go as in depth as we would like. We'll be talking about a couple segments, including a first-time dream match that occurred on SmackDown this past Tuesday. We'll be talking about SmackDown's move to the Fox network and what that may mean going forward. And it is Best of the Super Juniors time in New Japan Pro Wrestling. If you're following my Facebook page, you'll be getting daily updates, or I guess I should say updates when necessary, of the results and standings of the Best of the Super Juniors. But we will also talk about that, all of that, here on the Just Two Marks Wrestling Recap Show. But first, we'll start with our Raw. Alright, well, it is time to discuss Raw, and because of time, we're going to talk about what everybody was talking about, but for all the wrong reasons, and that was the Bobby Lashley segment with Sami Zayn and his sisters.
The battle of the proverbial old man hats of Bobby Lashley and Sami Zayn.
And for those of you that have not been keeping up with this storyline, a couple things. First of all, good on you for not watching what should be something good. I want to say, if you were to tell, years ago, tell me that El Generico, or excuse me, he's not El Generico. He wrestles move for move just like El Generico.
They share a birthday.
And Bobby Lashley would be engaged in, especially Bobby Lashley with him, being a bad guy in TNA, I'd be thinking, hey, this would be a really, really good storyline, but it's just not been that way. And it goes back 2 weeks. And second of all, if you've been living under a rock or just not been watching wrestling, I mean, I do have a certain segment of my audience that doesn't watch wrestling, but that's besides the point. It started off 2 weeks ago where there was like this, Renee Young gave this sit-down interview with Bobby Lashley where he was talking about how he was a family man, and he grew up with three older sisters, and
what that was like, his relationship with them, sibling rivalries, knockdown, drag out kind of stuff, family stuff.
Right. And this segment, among others in the YouTube wrestling community, got a little bit of criticism, and I will fully concede it's not something that I felt should have been on Raw per se, but I really didn't think it was like a terrible. I didn't think it was like nearly as bad as others in the community. Not saying they're wrong, but I just didn't really feel like it was as bad as like they felt it was.
If Bobby Lashley is a good guy, and you're just having them in like a sit down segment talk about family. It's just kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
I did say upon hearing about it, it sounds like something that maybe could have been better suited for like, you know, WWE.com or some kind of piece within the network rather than a segment on Raw. And this is considering it was just literally him just talking about his family. It wasn't really relevant to anything going on the show.
But it would become relevant,
Yeah,
JC. It would become relevant as last week, Sami Zayn came out and claimed he has gotten a hold of Bobby Lashley's sisters and he was going to expose Bobby Lashley for who he really is. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little intrigued. Because I'm just like, what is gonna happen? Are they gonna because everything's kind of been so flat with Lashley and to a point Zayn too, that I'm just kind of like, well,
what do you got?
What do you got? Like this might be something that could be, you know, is there a good chance that they were going to strike out on this? You know, yeah, probably, but there's also a pretty good chance they could hit. Not only hit, they could score with it, you know, or at least, you know, you'll hit something to contribute something, which is better than what's going on now. So I was a little intrigued by this storyline. So because I watch the Hulu versions of Raw and Smackdown. So Tuesday morning, I avoid the spoilers. I sit down with my coffee and my breakfast, and I'm gonna watch Raw, and I'm waiting, and like, okay, hey, let's see what's gonna happen. And 3 local wrestlers, gentlemen wrestlers, in drag, come to the ring claiming to be the sisters of Bobby Lashley. And my first thought was similar to the same first thought that JC had upon seeing the segment is, this is what the local wrestler gets. This their one time on Raw. This is their... I mean, that's just...
And they all, you know... They all were directly supposed to be the sisters, obviously, but that Bobby was talking about. They had little name tags, so you knew who they were.
Right.
They all had, like, certain objects, or, like, you know, oh, that's the sister Bobby Lashley was talking about in that part, and this is the one he was talking about in this part, and so on and so forth. And it was very, yes.
Yeah. And that is the nicest thing that can possibly be said about it. Online wrestling critics agree this was existing.
Yes.
So they do the segment where, you know, Sami Zayn goes up to each of the sisters, and, you know, I'm not slamming anybody that, you know, does that sort of thing, you know, like if that's their life or anything, but it obviously isn't for these 3 gentlemen in here. One could even argue they're making fun of people like that, but that's besides the point. The point is, like, they mention, you know, that Bobby Lashley, there was a story, one of his sisters would take their dad's army helmet, and then he said, like, no, I took the army helmet because Bobby Lashley had hit me in the head, and then with the helmet he couldn't hit me in the head, and then there was another sister that Bobby told the story that she would chase him around with a broom, and then he said that the Bobby Lashley sister would, you know, use the broom because it was the only weapon she could get her hands on, and then Bobby had another sister, he said that she had like a security towel instead of a blanket that their grandmother gave him, and it got dirty and then this, that, and the other, and then the last sister would essentially just like claim that she just had the towel and cried into it because Bobby Lashley was so awful, which led to Bobby Lashley coming out and
feigning his approval,
and then Sami Zayn said, you know, you're garbage and your family thinks you're garbage, and then the 3 sisters, the 3 local indie wrestlers in drag, decided to join in on the beatdown of Bobby Lashley with Sami Zayn, and then Bobby Lashley beat up all 3 of the local indie wrestlers.
And it was very specifically with either a broom, a towel, or I don't know if a helmet came into any of them, but I do remember.
He put the helmet on his head. And just... Some people, like... We're talking about this because, you know, and I realize I'm skipping over a lot of Raw, and there could have been some really, really good things. There are some good things going on Raw. Seth Rollins is fucking killing it right now as the Intercontinental Champion. So just so you can't say we're being completely negative this week on the show, you know, there's, you know, recognition for that. Ronda Rousey is, you know, saying, you know, she's getting ready to wrestle Nia Jax. That's going to be really, really cool for the title at Money in the Bank. That could lead to an all-female, or that could lead to a female main event at WrestleMania. There is the seeds being planted for things that could possibly be good, but this was just so ridiculously bad. Like, I almost thought Vince Russo was back. Like, this was like something that would have happened in the Attitude Era, but not one of the good things that would have happened in the Attitude Era, like, you know, hey, it's the beer truck, hey, it's This Is Your Life, Rock. It's just crap.
I feel attaching the Vince Russo thing is a little too easy, considering within recent years there was like the old day segment.
That's true.
And also just recently, just like, hey, WWE's back to using little people again.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
WWE's very capable of embarrassing themselves outside of Vince Russo's help.
Yeah, that's but I took the cheap shot, but to make the point of, it was like something that would happen in the Attitude Era, but not one of the cool, like, oh, remember that? You know, I remember the cool stuff in the Attitude Era. None of that. It was more so like, oh yeah, I remember this thing that, you know, maybe wasn't that good from the Attitude Era. Yeah, that, like, if I recall correctly, I think even R.D. Reynolds made a joke that the Gooker winner has already been decided with that segment. I know various others here in the YouTube wrestling community have voiced their disapproval, and some would say some, you know, were disgusted and offended by it, you know, because of the portrayal of the three individuals in drag. Some were just kind of thought that it was cheap and stupid. It's gotten a lot of attention, so well done, WWE. But it's gotten a lot of attention for all the wrong reasons. So I guess that kind of goes back to the Vince Russo analogy there. But
so there was Backlash, Lee?
Well, thanks for joining us this week on the Just Two Marks Wrestling Recap Show. Thanks for being a subscriber to the Athletic Geek YouTube page.
It was a good run.
It was a good run. Made a few people laugh. He didn't. You know, a few people enjoyed the show, and people enjoyed, you know, some vlogs and some stuff like that. So we had a good time. I was really hoping to do something cool for All-In Weekend, but that's dead now. That's dead, you know, months before it's even going to happen. So, you know, for JC, I'm the Athletic Geek. All right, we're here now. Anyway, where are we even at, you motherfucker?
If you're done with Lashley, then
well, it was the guy was talking about it for the wrong reason, and it goes back to seriously. This is going to relate to something we might be discussing a little bit later on in the show. This is the best that you like. Who is sitting there saying, this is the best thing we can come up with for Bobby Lashley? You know, leave the quote-unquote smart fan, indie fan that wants to see Sami Zayn. You know, we'll slide that aside. Bobby Lashley, a man who 11 years ago thought could be on par with Cena and Batista, is doing this, and like, this is the best thing come up with, and you know, and I'm not above admitting I'm wrong. If somehow, some way, like, this turns into something good, I'll give it credit, but all I'm seeing out of this is stupid sketches, Bobby Lashley's not going anywhere. It's not like this is being built towards some big match for Money in the Bank or SummerSlam with Lesnar. It's not like Sami Zayn's going to win in the feud and then get launched into the stratosphere to where he could be a credible contender for the Universal title. Nothing is coming out of this that's worth a damn. And it just leaves me go like, and I mentioned this last week, when me and Nick were doing the show. They've got so much talent. Like, this should be the new golden age of WWE, but yet, despite good wrestling and good matches and good things happening, which we'll get to on SmackDown, there's a phenomenal main event, despite a phenomenal one not being in the main event, but it's not quite as good as yours.
That's not the same. That wasn't a pun, that was just you using the same word twice.
Give me my damn moment, JC. Give me my damn chance to shine. But despite all of this going on, I feel like there should be, like, people are going to hang me for saying this. It's not quite on this level, but it's very reminiscent of TNA there for a while, in like 2009, 2010, where you've got this stacked roster, but just the writing and the creativity behind what to do with the roster is just so perplexing that, you're just like, that's it? And it's just, I don't know. I've for the last month, I've been in a similar state of mind on this show. Just, I don't know. Like, these guys are good. I'm excited to see these guys wrestle. But especially with Raw, it's a matter of, I don't know. And nothing to me has kind of like encompassed the I don't know more than that segment, because it's just like that's the, like, someone thought this was the best thing we could do. And yeah. We're moving on to SmackDown. That's all I got as far as Raw. Credit where it's due. Seth Rollins, Intercontinental Champion. Great. I'm a Ronda Rousey fan. I think that her match with Nia Jax is going to be it's going to be interesting to see what eventually, we'll probably closer to Money in the Bank talk more about this. Going to be interesting to see where that goes. How's Ronda going to wrestle, without the safety net of Triple H and Kurt Angle being there as well. How will people react to her potentially? I wouldn't bet against her, not winning that title, can that lead to her and Charlotte or her and Asuka and in the main event at WrestleMania, there are things that are there to where I'm not just going to be that type of fan where I'm like, I hate it, that's that, why do I like the WWE? But,
So most fans have like Novocaine in their mouth.
Yeah. No, they do not have. They do not have that one member of the BWO and Glenn Jacobs in their mouth. Novocaine.
That's fair, but like, is Glenn Jacobs an insider term?
That's true. Oh, I broke my rule. Well, he's running for mayor now, and it's as Glenn Jacobs, so I think I'm okay.
I hope that at least somebody, like, during a press interview, or if he's, like, in his, like, car going down the street for a parade, yells, "It's gotta be Kane! It's gotta be Kane!"
But, yeah, so...
drives in a red vehicle, the big red machine. Like, there's so much things that...
Please tell me Pete Rose is endorsing him. Please tell me. That is it for Raw. We're going to go into SmackDown. So, alright, so SmackDown thoughts. Well, we're going to talk about something a little more, what the fuck, and then we'll talk about something very good, and then we'll talk about something very interesting. And I just got a notification on my broadcasting device, so hopefully that caught all that. If not, unprofessionalism. Anyway, so AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, they had a match. Shinsuke won the match to decide the stipulation for Money in the Bank. And it starts out with Shinsuke kind of doing his thing. And, he says that the stipulation for the match is going to be a pillow fight. And then AJ goes into something that he read in a book was comedy.
It doesn't. The thing I said was when I heard him say, and I quote and or summarize, like, I always knew you were the best at, or the king of soft style, and it's like,
then he goes,
and it's like, I just wonder, like, did AJ think that was really good? Did he think that was so clever that, like, he was gonna get, like,
oh man, I got him with this one, you guys,
because it didn't even rhyme, and it made sense for what he was getting at, like, haha, here's a jab,
right?
But it just made me want to lean away.
Yeah.
just lean away.
Like, there's only, I think your words were there. You can only take so much.
Yeah, it's just like I think I've seen enough.
Ironically, John Cena wasn't there.
No,
but it leads into the true revelation. What they're having, they're gonna have the last man standing match, and I mean, Shinsuke's really found his way, I think, as a bad guy. Everything that I felt that he was kind of lacking on the main roster, on the good side of things, he's made up for, tenfold since going bad. I'm not going to complain about AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura, especially now that they, despite the limitations of bad finishes to their matches, it's just gotten better, and I'm thinking like this could be a pretty good climax to their issue. That being said, this segment was, it wasn't quite as like bad as the Bobby Lashley segment from Raw, but you just, oh AJ, but beyond that, nothing really else to talk about except, well, AJ and Shinsuke have the potential to, I think after WrestleMania we collectively as fans dialed back our expectations just a little bit to go like, hey, don't expect their Wrestle Kingdom match all over again, but maybe with this kind of freedom that they'll have through the confines of a last man standing match, they'll be able to possibly somewhat live up to that standard that they set.
The last man standard.
Oh guys, this is fun again. It's fun. The channel's probably going to get banned here pretty soon because we're going to get flagged for some offensive content there. And it's right here on camera. I can't even refute it anymore. So there's no way I'm going to win that. So thank you guys for supporting the Athletic Geek and the Just Two Marks Wrestling Recap Show. We're done. All right. We're done with that segment at least because where else we can go to? AJ Shinsuke, yay. Main events. We have a first time ever match because they were never in the same promotion at the same time despite them being
active
for so many years. But it's Jeff Hardy versus Daniel Bryan in a last chance kind of Money in the Bank. It's not really a qualifier match, but the winner of that match would go on to face Samoa Joe next week on SmackDown, with the winner going to advancing to the Money in the Bank ladder match. And I'm not going to overrate the match. It was a very, very good match. Anybody who is a fan of either one of these guys or just a fan of good wrestling needs to find a way to go see it. The thing was even uploaded its entirety to Hulu. I know sometimes Hulu crops matches somewhat, but the whole match was on Hulu. And yeah, it's just really, really good. And it's unlike whenever Bryan and Jericho wrestled on the very first main event of that version of NXT, and they, you expected so much, and then got a shorter match. You got the TV match. You knew you were going to get a TV match, shorter one, but it just kind of like, it could have been better. This was one of those like, oh hey, they gave it appropriate time and it was good. Bryan has seemed to have broke out a new finisher, kind of a heel hook that he used on Jeff during the match, and then Samoa Joe confronted him at the end of the night, and yeah, just to try and kind of steer things to a positive way and a positive look at wrestling in the WWE right now. I figured I'd talk about that because there's nothing I can complain about that match other than the fact that I'd love to see him wrestle again on a pay-per-view with more time. And that's about the worst thing I could say. The only thing that worries me is it bad of me to want Samoa Joe to beat Daniel Bryan? Because I don't want to see Daniel Bryan anywhere near a damn ladder match ever. Yeah. So that's just pretty much it. Be the first time Bryan Joe's wrestled in, I want to say 12 years?
Ish. 12, 13 probably.
Yeah.
If it was like, what, 05, 06?
06. Late 06. So, yeah. Yeah. Nearly 12 years. It's been since Bryan was ROH champion. But that's not even the biggest news out of SmackDown. This isn't really so much with the storylines and the characters in the ring. This is big news that SmackDown will be leaving the USA Network in 2019, I believe was when they said. And it will be going to Fox, and it'll be going back to Friday nights. So, yeah, quick swig here. It was a $1 billion or multi-billion dollar deal from Fox to bring SmackDown to their network. The lead-in show on Thursdays is going to be Thursday Night Football. They'll use to promote SmackDown. This is a good thing financially for the WWE. A concern that I have and a concern that others in this community here on YouTube have had has been, now that they have that money, the WWE has already shown with Roman Reigns that they're stubborn. Will the stubbornness turn into just a plain, we don't care, take it and like it, your money is now our money, we spent it on the big dog? Is that going to happen? Is it going, are they going to listen to the fans even less? And at first I kind of dismissed these fears and just kind of chalked it up to something I'm guilty of, just kind of that, internet wrestling fan kind of fear. But, I mean, you never know, right? I mean, it's...
Well, I mean, I guess it just kind of remains to be seen, but one thing that just kind of crossed my mind is, like, didn't he get, like, how much money did he get for that Saudi Arabia show? Yeah. Like, and then this Fox thing, and they're going back to Saudi Arabia, I think, again in, like, November, aren't they?
Right, yeah.
God, that is a lot of money coming into the promotion.
And it's... and good. I mean, it's a business, and it's a brand, and I'm glad they're making money. Because, I mean, earlier in the year, people were saying, like, oh, WWE's in dire straits, WWE's in dire straits. Oh, shit. But now it's just so much... Okay, they got their money. They're not going to go out of business, but, I mean, are they going to rest on the brand name? Are they going to rest on their laurels? They don't, despite All In being grand, I mean, I am all in. I've got my tickets in the mail. I'm going to the StarCast. I'm repping Cody Rhodes, right here. that's not viable competition. It's good that it's out there and it proves that there is a market for it, a big market, but it does concern me, I would, in my angry, sometimes intoxicated rants, talk about Vince McMahon saying, you're going to take this, you're going to eat it, and you're going to like it because I like it, and you got to, eat my shit or fuck you, don't watch it. Is this paranoia? Or is it kind of justified, like, well, you know what? Nothing's going to hurt them for a while because they've gotten billions of dollars from Fox. They've got the Saudi Arabia stuff happen. Hey, they're going to do it, does us as fans, are our voices going to be like even more potentially, possibly blocked out by those in charge? I'm not saying Triple H, because he seems to listen, at least on NXT and 205 Live, but at least on the main roster, on Raw and SmackDown, could that be a possibility?
It might be one of those kind of, paranoia / innocent until proven guilty things. I mean, what would you... when you see the product on the new channel, that's probably the time to judge, I guess, or at least after maybe a few months or whatever.
Right. It's kind of been the hot button topic this week, and I kind of thought at least weigh in on it a little bit on our, everybody else is kind of beating it to death, but, there's just our hot take on it. It's not even really a hot take, it's just kind of a take. A take by me instead of take on me.
Undertake on me.
Undertake on me. Means that you want to wrestle the Undertaker. Right here at Athletic Geek HQ. Nick Foley actually talked about that during his set. It's pretty funny. He talked about a lot of his... one of these... I need to I'm not going to spoil everything, because if you get a chance to go see Mick's show, you need to go see it. So I'm not going to spoil too many things about it, but the stories of the Hell in the Cell are very, very entertaining, and then the Q&A leads to a bunch of fun merriment. So nothing I'll say about, last week we were driving to the show, and fortunately Nick couldn't be here, this week to do one more Triple Threat episode, but... all I'll say about the show is, to not spoil it, is if you get the opportunity to go see Mick Foley do his his comedy show live, take it. Where we were, it was only $25 for a general admission ticket, $75 for a meet and greet pass with it. So it's well worth it if you can. And yeah, that's pretty much all I've got for the WWE. Let's move on to New Japan. All right, and time for the New Japan segment. And right now it's Best of the Super Juniors time, and if you are not aware of the Best of the Super Juniors tournament, it is a 16-man round-robin style tournament. It is broken up into two different blocks, Block A and Block B. Each wrestler wrestles everybody in their block. You get 2 points for a victory, 1 point for a draw, and 0 points for a loss. The competitors with the most points in each block face each other. The winner becoming the Best of the Super Juniors and then getting a title shot, I believe at Dominion or at a later date, at the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title. Will Ospreay, who is the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, is entered into the tournament. In the event he wins, he chooses his challenger. And we kind of got a different variety of people in there this year. And if you haven't already, I'm going to kind of go into plug mode right now. If you have not followed me or liked the Facebook page, it's a late night, you might want to go do that, because every time there is a Best of the Super Juniors event, I give a complete update with not only the results of that night's action, but also the standings in each block. Very, very good way to keep up with the tournament if you don't have time to cycle through all the different wrestling news on the website. But JC has my latest blog post from facebook.com/athleticgeek89 if you want to keep up with it. The current standings are as followed. Leading the B block right now is Dragon Lee representing CMLL with 6 points. Show representing Chaos is tied for second place, along with Desperado, who is representing Suzuki-gun. They both have 4 points respectively. Marty Skrull representing the Bullet Club is got 2 points, along with Risuke Taguchi representing Taguchi Japan. Chris Sabin representing Ring of Honor also has 2 points, along with Kushida, who is also representing Taguchi Japan in the B block. On the A block side of things, Tiger Mask 4 is in the lead with 6 points. He is unaffiliated, or the part of the unaffiliated Sekigun in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He is by a 3-way tie for second place with Will Ospreay representing Chaos, Flip Gordon representing Ring of Honor, and Taiji Ishimori, the Bone Soldier, representing the Bullet Club. All 3 of those gentlemen have 4 points in the A block. Yoshinobu Kanemaru, ACH, and Yo, they are in a 3-way tie for third with 2 points respectively each. Kanemaru representing Suzuki-gun, ACH representing the AAW promotion out of Berlin, Illinois. He's currently their champion. And Yo representing Chaos. And unfortunately, the only person with no points right now is Bushi, who is representing Los Ingobernables de Japón. And, it just dawned on me, I forgot about Hiromu Takahashi. I had missed over his name. He also has, I believe, he also has 2 points in the B block. I made one little error on the blog. That will be fixed. But it's a pretty exciting tournament, and really seeing Flip Gordon kind of come into his own in this tournament as a New Japan competitor. But the other big news out of New Japan is Chris Jericho had another interview on Tetsuya Naito where there was a turtle involved and the word fuck quite a bit. So there's that. So, but all roads are leading to Dominion. We've hyped this up on the show enough, but that's pretty much everything kind of going on. If you want to keep up with the best of the Super Juniors, other than following me for just, some reports that may or may not accidentally omit some facts, but for the most part they're pretty accurate. Other than following the Facebook page, subscribe to New Japan World. It's 999 yen a month, so keep up with all the action. They have all the matches on there. It's a really, really exciting tournament, and it sets the precedent for the heavyweights in the month of August with the G1 Climax. So that's pretty much everything big in the world of wrestling right now. JC, anything you want to add?
I resisted the urge to say last man standings.
Yes, and I sure appreciate that. So, if that's it, again, I'll say it for another time. If you would like more content, and I'll try and do better on it than in my small little error that I made on the Facebook page, go to facebook.com/athleticgeek89 for more things of all geek and related to all of geek culture, be it wrestling, comic books, anime, and of course your Best of the Super Juniors updates. Follow the page. You can go follow his artwork page at the Deluxe Asterisk on Facebook. And if there's nothing else you want to add, that is JC. I am the Athletic Geek. It was a long night to get this one filmed. It was a long day. This one was a rough one, but we made it through. But we are 2 marks. We are just 2 marks. We are out.